there's thousands of people around the world that are trying to like buy sheep or buy a goat, but the fact that you're using Bitcoin is what matters. And that's why the Bitcoin community is supporting you, because we're a very small community. 99% of people on earth, they don't understand Bitcoin at all. They've heard the word and they know, oh, maybe it'll make you rich, but they don't understand that Bitcoin is not about making you rich. Bitcoin is about freedom. It's about storing your time and labor in a way that a bank or a government cannot take it away from you. That's your right. You earned it with your blood, with your sweat, with your tears. That belongs to you. Your money belongs to you. And that's what Bitcoin is about. It's very important to us. So when we, I can see why, when they saw what you're doing, I can see why Buddha and Alabama and Siduk would want to support that. So the work that you're doing is very important. These donations were given to you because you are carrying the banner of Bitcoin in your community. And people like you are changing the world. So supporting people like you is very important. And that's why we do it. So you say thank you to us. I say thank you to you. Thank you, Johnangel.
Thank you so much.
Stash, feeling proud I got no cash. Can't afford the tip, got me feeling kinda sad, but glad. I sleep up your whole bag, selling my chair just to get a couple sats. I'ma stack it next week cause I hit my limit.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Have Fun Stacking Sats. Today is a terrific episode. I'm so excited to talk to Gaby and Johnangel. This is a full-on stack chainer story. I mean, it's just from beginning to end. This is a stack chain story. It's probably one of my favorites. I'm totally falling in love with it. And without going into too much more detail, I'm just gonna introduce. We have Gaby and Johnangel. So it's I already forgot the pronunciation. Tachira, right?
Yeah, Tachira.
Tachira. So tell me about what you guys are doing there.
So we are a family farm that began 4 years ago when our great grandfather sold us his last two sheep. That was we talked with him. He was retiring from farming and he has just his last two sheep. So we bargained and we start to take care of them. And basically after that we began farming. We began raising sheep. 2 years later we bought a flock of goats and started milking goats too. And basically that's how we turned two sheep and all in a lifetime.
And that this started how long ago?
4 years ago.
4 years ago. Okay. And then about 3 or 4 months ago, something interesting happened. There was some sort of development where a couple of stack chainers, I believe it was a Stack Chain Buddha, Siduk, and Alabama, got into contact with you somehow. So what was that? What was that about? What's the story with that?
So some months ago, we started a fundraiser to buy 20 new sheep, and we published an article in the website of Get Raw Milk. And we are a friend of the administrator of the page, and so we began a little fundraiser to buy 20 sheep for a farm. We wanted to improve and make more. I'm sorry, I'm trying to pronounce English. So we basically wanted to expand our farm to keep it up with our longer production on meat production and milk production with sheep and goats. And with that little fundraiser, we started to send messages, to get in contact with a lot of people in Twitter. And just for a little casualty, I sent a message to a user called Holt Alabama, and he told us, "Hey guys, I wanted to make a little donation, but I can only do it through Bitcoin. And are you guys know about it?" And and I don't know a little more about Bitcoin that time. So we basically asked him which which wallet he recommends, what he thinks about Bitcoin, what are the opportunities that Bitcoin open, and all started that, I guess, that were his first donation, because he has made like 3 donations to this point, and were $10 through Bitcoin. And what he teaches us to download a wallet, how to use it. We firstly download the Moon wallet, and everything would begin in that point, or at least our Bitcoin journey.
Wonderful. So when he offered to pay you in Bitcoin, that wasn't really a problem for you. You just had to learn how to do it. So your did had you known anything about Bitcoin before that, or was that the first time?
Yeah, you always listen something in the news, something about it, some business in the central city of our country, Caracas, is where Bitcoin really moves, or in other countries too. In El Salvador, for example, there are a lot of news about Bitcoin adoption. So you can really listen a lot of things about Bitcoin and his development around the world. And nothing much more happened here, but you really have an image, or, or, or a concept, a little concept of what Bitcoin could do and what Bitcoin is. So to that point, we only thought about it like digital money.
Sure. Sure. So this is your first personal experience because you had an opportunity. Somebody offered to donate in Bitcoin, so now you actually had to learn about Bitcoin. And from our previous conversations, it sounds like you're learning very very quickly. Where do we go from here? So Alabama and Gabby, didn't you enter the story somewhere in this point?
No,
No. Okay. So at what point did you enter the story, Gabby?
it was interesting. It was a post on Twitter from Stackchain, from Buddha, or from Alabama, because they were more into this. And I saw from Tachira Homestead. I saw that on the Twitter, like the profile, and I was like, but that's where I was from. I was born and raised there, and there's a gold farm using Bitcoin, and it has been built because of Bitcoin. So I saw that they are making the fundraising through Gazer. And immediately I contact Johnangel through DM, and I say immediately, "Hi, it's a pleasure to meet you. This is Gaby," and I introduce myself. And he gave me immediately his contact, because I said I really want to know how this is come that like how it comes that in my city, in San Cristobal, there's a Go farm and it's built by Bitcoin. How comes? Like there was no logic for me, because I've been visiting pretty often my city. And the next day, John Angel and I, we have a conversation about Alabama and Buddha, and that's everything is where it began. That all the story.
Yeah. Well, so I remember this. So StackChain is a Twitter community. For those of you who don't know what StackChain is, and at the point where Alabama and Buddha and Psyduck were talking about this, we we're only about 2 months into it. And at that point in time, we had already done a charitable donation campaign for Bitcoin Beach, and I think we had also done one for Hodl or Not because he was going to court to fight for Bitcoin. And at that point in time, we had kind of become known as a place that might do charitable contributions. So people would pop in and start asking for donations, and it's kind of difficult to know if these places were legitimate or if it was just a person trying to get Bitcoin donations. So when it first came to Stackchain, I think everybody dismissed it because we weren't quite sure what the deal was. But the three of them, Alabama, Psyduck, and Buddha, apparently they took it and ran with it, and they really did the work to find out what you guys were doing and what was going on, and they made some initial donations. And then out of the blue last week in our back channels, Peter just throws up this tweet from Gaby. So Gaby, why don't you tell us about that tweet?
Okay, so because I was part of the group on Twitter, Stackshame, it was many months ago, and then I was removed because I was not interacting. But I remember that thanks because of this algorithm, I saw Tachira Homestead. So obviously, when I knew about this, I got in touch with Johnangel, and I told him like, "Hey, I'm gonna be in Venezuela the next week because I'm going to be visiting my family. I live in Cucuta, which is an hour from the border. So it's easily for me to get access because I'm Colombian and I'm Venezuelan. Yeah. So he said, okay, let's meet here. And I told him like, I really want to meet this story. It's fascinating to see like that with this small donation, you make something bigger, because he was explaining to me over the phone that they learned how to produce new animals, how to, to heal them, how to nurture them, how to feed them, all those steps that for me was fascinating. Like, how come that in less than a period of time, they were able to manage this amount of animals in a small area, which is San Cristobal. So, and it was close to my school. It was more shocking for me. Like, there's when you feel that intuition, this is where I want to meet.
Yeah, it was familiar. It was from a place that you knew well.
Yeah, and it wasn't. I was feeling that. And the first day I went, Anthony, it was such a long ride, because to go to the border, you need to cross the militaries in Venezuela. You need to show paperwork why you're going. I mean, it's several steps. And when I was going there, the first impression that I felt, it was, this is happening. I feel something that I need to do something here. When I arrived, Anthony, in here, their family was waiting for me with my mom, and they were waiting for showing me all the products that they were doing just for the fresh organic products. And when I arrived there, I said, okay, let's do this. I promise you to get what you want to be, but you also need to promise me that you're gonna be keep doing this, keep giving me the hope, that you're doing it, the dream that you're showing me, because I'm also an entrepreneur, and I know how hard it's for someone that is starting a business, or a business a business with family in a country like Venezuela, and you just want someone to trust in yourself, someone that trusts your product. And that's what I felt that they needed. And I started to go pretty often. So I started to go, okay, let's do this. Okay, what are you doing with your clients? Okay, are you doing this retention with the clients? Are you doing this with education? So I was going, visiting in the bazaars, knowing what they were talking in the radio, showing and helping them how to actually teach education about Bitcoin. So that's where I took it, like, really, like my personal, gift to them.
Well, okay, so that's the amazing thing. So from my perspective, I don't know, 2 or 3, maybe 4 months ago, this was briefly mentioned. Some stack chainers were involved, and then it just kind of disappeared. And now, progress forward 3 or 4 months, and now suddenly from this thing that disappeared, now there's a ranch in Tachira, and they're selling what they produce for Bitcoin, and they're teaching people about Bitcoin, and that's amazing. So what does the ranch produce? Let's start with that.
We produce a lot of raw milk products, and we also sell lamb meat, premium cuts of lamb meat. So that's the firstly the simple thing we sell. With that, we started to produce yogurt, Greek yogurt balls, cheeses of all kind, cream cheese, mature cheese, and we're also selling a little dessert called dulce de leche. Okay, that is a really important or really famous dessert here in Venezuela. Uh,
Kefir.
Computer?
yeah, yeah. So this is a extensive selection of products that we sell with the food that our animals produce. And we always give the option, and we always ask to our clients if they could pay in Bitcoin, because everything starts with that. People need to do it, or needs the know that we also accept a Bitcoin for our products.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a big deal because you guys are the first, right? There's nobody else doing this. So
Oh no.
yeah, this is important. Do you have many people who use Bitcoin to make purchases from you?
Yeah, in various of the events, in various events we participate, some people get along with us, talk with us, and get surprised about that there's a farm or there's an enterprise, a family enterprise receiving Bitcoin here in Venezuela, and it just a surprise for them, because it don't usually happen, and how they tell us that they receive Bitcoin from the exterior, from gain friends, but not here in Venezuela. And so I remember we have like 4 or 3 sales of cheese and ponche crema, that is traditional Christmas drink that we make for those events. And yeah, we're like 3 or 4 sales to people that use Bitcoin in Venezuela.
That's wonderful. So see, I don't have that available to me. Like if I, I live in the United States. So if I wanted to buy some milk or some cheese and use Bitcoin, there there's nobody I can get that from. So, the people in your community the Bitcoiners in your community are very fortunate that they have you, and that's an amazing story. Do you find is it easy or is it difficult to explain and convince people to use Bitcoin?
It How can I say it depends about the experience that that person has with transactions and payment mediums. And some people get it quickly. They understand that it is a exchange method, a free exchange method without intermediaries. Some other people just ask more about. So and yeah, it really depends on the experience that has the people with use and with payment methods. And basically, with some people are really interested to to incentivize and build the Bitcoin culture in here in Venezuela. So because it really gives the opportunity to create exchange, free exchange from people without intermediary, without banks. Here in Venezuela is it's a punishment for real to make payments, because you always depend on forgetting banks, or when you want to pay you have to receive an, an percentage rate, and it's a chaos because national money basically is a waste, don't have any value. You have to depend on foreign money, and it's a mess. So Bitcoin can fix that.
Yeah, what's funny is there must be something to it because you have been a Bitcoiner for only a few months, and the way that you're explaining Bitcoin and the words that you're using to explain Bitcoin, it sounds exactly like you're somebody that's in my spaces that has been participating in Bitcoin for 3 or 4 years. So either you're a fast learner or Bitcoin really solved a problem for you and gave you a lot of motivation to learn about it. But it's I can tell that you have a teaching heart, and you've been going on radio shows and you teach people about Bitcoin, so you get a lot of experience explaining Bitcoin. Gabby, you were mentioning the town yesterday when we talked and the location of the ranch and how that is significant. I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Yes. So the ranch is located in an area which is in a club called Castellana. So La Castellana is pretty famous in our area because it used to be like for parties, for events, for people that got graduated. So inside of this area, there were like people like used to go for having like a Sunday with family, having like a relaxed day with family on the swimming pool. It's like an open area. So because of the immigration, this area is stopped having like clients, let's say like this. So this area it's inside of the is where the ranch is. So it's behind this area. So it's just a location that actually you go inside and you can get access into the ranch. So it's behind the club that was pretty famous. It's just 5 minutes from the city, from not from the city. It's just 5 minutes from the central of the city by car.
Right.
And yeah, and it's easy access. It's like there are like buses, there's transportation that can get there. So it's a ranch inside of a city.
Okay. And then the newest development, and this is new, like a few days new, is that you guys were considering expanding the ranch, and you were looking for some donations to help out with that. And as I was telling the story before, where you had interacted with Stack Chainers months ago, and then as a result of Gabby's tweet, um, you kind of got our attention again, and we invited you in. You were looking to donate, if I'm not mistaken, around 26 million sats, and you came and talked to us on our spaces, and by the end of that spaces, I went and checked the donation wallet, and it looked like you guys had in about an hour received 25 million sats. So what is that money going to be used for?
We want to buy a sheepfold that is owned by other person that were the like from the clients of my uncle, and we want to buy that sheepfold to let that all the animals can keep like that the herd keep growing, because we have no longer space. We buy 20 new sheep and 9 new goats, and so basically we're out of space. We need a new roof to keep it up all those animals. So we wanted to we thanks to Gaby, we made this little fundraiser. We go to the space and we share our story and how it all began, how it's been the development. This little baby goat here is a daughter from the 9 goats that we could buy. That thanks to Bitcoin. To that point, there's six new babies from the 9 goats and 3 new lambs from the 20 sheep. So basically, we wanted to keep it up, and infrastructure is I guess the most important step to keep it up with the health and the care of the animals. So we wanted to expand our farm and at the same time acquire some infrastructure that is really a downside, but it is owned by other persons. So that's why we need to buy it, so we can own it and save an animal there.
That's wonderful. So basically, what you're saying is a little Bitcoin donation resulted in a bunch of prosperity, which is interesting. So in the United States, if you talk to people about Bitcoin, the only thing they know is a year ago it used to be very very valuable, and now it has decreased in value. So the average American no longer sees value in Bitcoin because Americans are not concerned about medium of exchange or uncensorable money or any of those things. They're just kind of concerned about like the dollar value of Bitcoin. Meanwhile, here's a case where Bitcoin has brought such tremendous prosperity that you need to expand, and you actually have to buy land because you've gotten so many sheep and goats that the land that you currently have no longer accommodates. So, in the midst of what Westerners would consider a bear market, Bitcoin is bringing prosperity and growth, and the community is growing, which I think is beautiful and amazing. What is the Bitcoin community like where you live in Venezuela? Is there a Bitcoin community? Is it just you, or?
I think that the Bitcoin community is one of the like I how to say, it's one of the most friendly groups on Twitter or internet in general. I we when we started receiving donation, my brothers and I started to making voxel art from for every person that has donated. Uh, I don't have words. I mean, the, everybody is so nice, so approachable. Everybody is ready to know about this our story. Everybody wants to listen. Everybody wants to receive a little gift for the donation, and we only can have gratitude to everybody. That's the only thing I can say. We're really thankful to everybody we have share and talk, and in this I guess 4 3 months, everybody I meet, everybody I work together because I've made even voxel artworks for some projects, from some Bitcoin projects, and it's very nice. It's a really beautiful place.
He has really opened doors. Really.
Yeah, yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot, a
So
lot. Yes.
so Gabby, I'm going to extend that question to you. What does the Bitcoin community look like in Tachira?
Well, the Bitcoin community, I will think it is small, really tiny. I would say that the Bitcoin community is right now his Johnangel family for me. It's really that tiny. Yes, that's why I protect them, because it's difficult to find someone that live on the Bitcoin standard. We can find crypto people that are really using still, but people here use so much Binance, and other type of payments like euro and dollars and even Colombian pesos. So here there are different type of five currencies. There are different type of exchanges that they use, and the really maxis it has been difficult to find here, or they're located also in Cucuta, in my city, which is one of the bigger one is the border. So I would say that what we are trying to do in Tachira is also to find other people that think like Johnangel, or the people that Johnangel has been educating. And it has been also a long ride for him, because he has been like forcing people, like in a kind way. He has been like, I
Yeah,
give you a discount for my milk, but you know,
yeah,
but I want you to be fully open. And I also have been doing that. We're not saying that the people are not close to the idea, but it's still, that in the beer market, we will see that people will be tending to be more open to just speak about Bitcoin and not be thinking about other cryptos, which is still
right,
the
right.
problem that we have in yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's okay. The seed has been planted, and there's success and prosperity, and people pay attention to that. So, every little bit of progress you make is fantastic and important. Every Bitcoiner matters. Um, all the work that's being done matters, and that's why somebody like myself, who's in the United States, I've never been to Venezuela. I know very little, but the fact that this is happening is very important to me, because any contribution that a Bitcoiner makes anywhere around the world benefits every other Bitcoiner. And you guys, we've slightly touched on something that I think deserves a little bit more of an explanation as to why Bitcoin is important to the people in Venezuela. And the money in Venezuela is very unique. You mentioned that people aren't using it. They're trying to get dollars, euros, other things. So can you explain the monetary situation in Venezuela and why that is?
It's crazy, Anthony.
Just it's a mess. It's a chaos for real. I mean, is there's like five currencies, like a lot of payment mediums like Cele, Bank of America, Bank Colombia, PayPal, and no other. I mean, there's a lot of payment mediums, and there's more than happy people. There are like barriers, and don't let people exchange freely. You to open a seller account, you need to go to the United States. To open a Bank Colombia account, you need to be a resident in Colombia, and that's some people receive dollars, some other no, some pesos, some euros. So when you're going to pay something in a store that don't receive dollars, you need to pay a rate and percentage rate, and in the same case with every other currency in the country. Or you're going to pay like through Bank Colombia, you need to pay a rate for the transaction, because that's another layer on the problem. There's physical money and there's digital money, and digital money don't have the same value as physical money.
Mm-hmm.
And because
Yeah,
people is scared to have um, digital money,
the,
because to withdraw is more expensive.
yeah. That what.
That
Mhm.
please.
Oh, sorry. Just what I wanted to add, because Johnangel is touching something really important, is that in Venezuela we even use international banks, like from the U.S. And we are not from the U.S. I've never touched the U.S., but I have to send money to the U.S. Or in Colombia, you're in Colombia, but people inside of Colombia needs to use banks here. So we have different type of currencies or different type of exchanges in order to receive the products. While with Bitcoin, you just have just one, just download a wallet. You put the price that you want, and then you make the exchange. Thus, we have been trying to explain to people, and also the insecurity to come to Venezuela is one of the higher tops that we have. I was explaining. I will be receiving some Russian people here in some friends, and that in the and it's they are scared of losing their money, because they're gonna be like having their bags with dollars, euros. That's gonna be possible. The militaries can take that on the border, and like what happened the last year in Ukraine, with people that
Right.
were yes. Okay. So that's the same issue in Venezuela, like the same the current situation that people are not able to transport their own money or the value of what they have because of that.
Yeah, well, so one of the interesting things that you were saying is, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Johnangel, is that cash has a premium. So, like, cash is more valuable because people are distrustful of digital money. Is that a problem when you explain Bitcoin to people? Because as Bitcoiners, we view Bitcoin as cash, and we give Bitcoin a premium because we know it can't be taken away from us and we can transact freely. But a person who doesn't understand Bitcoin will view it as something that is digital, and they're already distrustful of digital money. Is that
No,
fair to say?
in that
No.
case, it's
Okay,
different,
great.
because Bitcoin has one value. Everybody can download the wallet and see the value of Bitcoin. in any hour, in any moment of the day, you can just open your wallet. You can search it in Google and see what's the value on Bitcoin. It's not the same for dollars. It's not the same for Colombian pesos. It's not the same for euros. That depends
Okay.
on the rates that exchange houses have. So basically, everybody depends on exchange houses to know what's the value, the true value of their money. You can have like $1,000, and for exchange house is just five. So is that a really crazy matter? But that's basically that Bitcoin solve has the potential
So
to give trust to people. Everybody
yeah.
check the real value of Bitcoin, and anybody can change it.
Yeah, so okay, so you're starting to paint a picture here. So the exchange houses determine the value of the different money. So if you have something and you want to get dollars or euros or whatever, you're extremely dependent on them to be honest, which if you know human nature, sometimes people are not honest, and to maintain that value in a way that you're it's centralized. It's extremely centralized. Like you're very dependent on them to be honest and do a good job. While with Bitcoin, you just have it in your wallet, and I can hear in the sound of your voice that's very desirable. Who's in charge of the exchange houses? Is that businesses or government, or who manages that?
That's the thing. So in bank says that dollars value some have a value, and then government says that dollar have other value,
Uh,
and
Then
house exchange.
people, then business owners, and then people
Yeah,
that
yeah.
think
So
it's
it's
crazy.
an anarchy
um,
basically. But
wow.
everybody truly depends on exchange house. That is the bigger place everybody goes to exchange their money.
I'm gonna give like a quick example. For example, today I went to buy this
Wait.
rice, right? This
Okay.
rice,
Yeah.
let's say that I'm making like I'm buying things to go to Venezuela in 2 weeks, right? So this one just cost me 99 cents of US dollar because I'm in Colombia. So 99 cents, that's what cost me, which it was just, let's say, 3,000 pesos. So if you go to Venezuela, this same brand, you're going to find it for up to $3. And if you convert, but let's say that I'm not paying in dollars, I'm paying in Colombian pesos. They are gonna be, oh, you're not giving me pesos, so I'm gonna be putting more. So that's not gonna be $3. That will be $7 in value of Colombian pesos. You know, and then that's a crazy, that's super crazy how things are
Yeah.
going.
It leaves lots of room. So in Bitcoin language, we call that rent seeking, right? Is when you have to, where it is mandatory to use a central party or an intermediary, the intermediary will charge rent just on
Yeah,
transactions. And so with having multiple different currencies, so like if I come and I pay for something in dollars and now you go somewhere and that person wants euros, you can't make a simple transaction. Now you have to go exchange the dollars for euros, and now there's a middleman and he takes a piece of it, or between pesos and whatever. And considering that you have five different currencies, this happens a lot. So you have a lot of these people just taking a little bit of your time and labor that you earned just because they happen to be the person that's in charge of that exchange. That's awful. That's terrible. Uh, so you feel pretty confident that Bitcoin solves this problem.
yeah. I think it has the future to help Venezuelans to overcome this barrier.
So because I had asked you a question and you had so much conviction in your answer that I kind of, if it's possible, I want to unpack that a little bit. You said, um, what was it? You said, I can look at my wallet any time of day and see exactly what the value is. So that's obviously significant to you. How is that significant Or yeah, how is that significant to the people of Venezuela?
because it's that little thing that anybody could just pass away is the most important thing, because information is what they have, is what give power to people. You as a person in the street, you don't know how pesos value, how dollars value at the eye of the enterprises and exchange. They have the information, and that's how they can twist the true value of that money. So
Right.
you can
So you
have
don't even have to ask
five
them.
$5 for them is just one. The information is what the information and the exchange mediums. Bitcoin, anybody can
Yeah.
download a wallet and anybody can exchange in any moment without asking permissions, without needing to give their identity to a bank or something. Bitcoin opens that door of opportunity to everybody knows how much value their money.
Yeah, and we even know it across borders, right? I mean, you tell your story to a bunch of silly Americans on Twitter, who decide to send some donations, and we can do that, and we don't have to involve ourselves with any bank in the United States or any government in the United States or any bank in Venezuela or the government of Venezuela. You and I, we can just make a decision between us and decide to transact, whether it's a donation or I'm buying milk or whatever, and we can just do that. um, Man, what does does the government have a position on Bitcoin? How do they treat Bitcoin, or what do they think of it?
So it's complicated because to mine Bitcoin is completely illegal here because of the
Oh,
problem of electricity, of the electricity system. But exchange is completely free. Meanwhile, you don't try to mine, everything is okay.
okay. Okay, so mining is prohibited, but owning Bitcoin is fine. That's good.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, so
I
we'll
mean,
keep mining it so it works.
it's legal, and if you have the permissions from the government, nowadays it's legal. But it's illegal if you just start like a minor that you need to go through different bunch of documents, because the government knows that there's like they can have a deal behind that. So they're gonna be just giving you the papers. So it's legal, but you need to have like a
As
driver
long
license,
as
a
long
long
they
procedure.
give you your permission.
Hmm.
Right. So if they decide that they don't want you to do that anymore, they know who you are, they know where you live, or if they want to tax it or something, they know who you are. They know, just same thing as anywhere else. The government wants to know who you are, so if they make a decision about it, that's interesting. Well, one of the interesting things about Bitcoin that brings up is, um, if it's difficult to mine Bitcoin in Venezuela, it doesn't matter because you can still use Bitcoin, you can still participate in the Bitcoin network because people can mine Bitcoin, secure the network, and operate the network from outside of it. So like I can mine in the United States, and that provides everything that you need in Tachira to receive Bitcoin for your products and services, even though you can't mine Bitcoin. So it's just another one of those situations where the Bitcoin network, every every participant in the network helps every other participant in the things that they can do. What's Bitcoin like in Colombia?
How is what?
What's
I'm
the
sorry,
government view?
Anthony.
And what's it like in Colombia? Because you're
So
just on the other side.
yeah, so Colombia is still like when Bitcoin arrived, it arrived like the concept of Ponzi scheme. So people were more afraid of you know. It arrived
Yeah.
on this way because many people disappear, like it happened with this exchange in Canada that disappeared with all the funds. Many
Right.
companies arrive with the same business model here, and that's why people like got rejected. But the government actually has been like friendly with this. Let's say, well, they sign up with the sandbox experience, which was the last year that they got approved in Colombia. So companies like exchanges needs to provide the KYC process to the government and make sure that they are providing their cryptocurrencies or their documents. And we say this because there are many crypto enthusiasts here in Colombia and not Bitcoiners. Always they are like failing into something. Always.
Right.
So
Right.
so nowadays in Colombia, Bitcoin, which is the only one that we actually listen on the news and the legal documentation of Colombia, is that it's considered as a patrimony. So you need to provide that you have Bitcoin, but as long as you don't sell it, right, you're not gonna be putting taxes. But it's still what is based on trading, which is if you're taking some profits from that, you need to pay some taxes on that.
Right. It's like the United States where it's considered property.
Mm-hmm.
So if you sell it and you make a profit, then you have to pay taxes, capital gains, or whatever. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Um, so we have been at this for about an hour. So I want to give an opportunity for both of you to talk about whatever I may not have asked about that you feel is important. So is there anything about the ranch or about using Bitcoin in your country that we didn't cover that you would like to talk about?
Uh, I think that Venezuela has the potential to adopt Bitcoin to truly build it like a real solution beyond of exchange, beyond of banks, beyond of government movement. Bitcoin really has that potential to give the power to people to exchange and let share without any intermediaries. And everything begins with a little bottle of milk, a little gold, and now a big infrastructure. So that's what Bitcoin can do. It's not just a little. It begins with little things, and then build the greatest, build the greatest things we can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this whole story is proof of that because we started with a few goats, a small Bitcoin donation, and now you have funds to purchase property because you're the herd. I'm not sure which a herd, right, has grown so large that it no longer fits in the property that you have. So you need a larger property, and now there's a family teaching people about Bitcoin. 4 months ago, that wasn't happening at all, and it all started with a simple internet transaction, and that's the power of Bitcoin is that individuals most likely in the United States talked to an individual in Venezuela and decided to do something, and they did it, and they didn't have to ask permission. They didn't have to set up an account with a financial institution that could deny them access or take fees. Even with the donations, you guys had the geyser page, and a couple stack chainers wanted to do larger donations and just asked for your wallet address because they didn't want you to lose that 2%, which would have been significant, especially considering the amount that they were so generously donating. And it was as simple as that. It was just, I would like to do this with you, and as long as you and I agree, we can do it, and we don't have to ask anybody else.
There, just like
Yeah.
that.
Just like that. Gabby, do you have anything that that we didn't cover that you wanted to talk about, that you wanted to add to the conversation?
Yeah, but I would say, Anthony, well, I would say two things. I say what an anonymous donation can impact in a society and how you can bring hope. You know, in Spanish, we have an expression or a phrase that we say, while there's a life, there's hope. And that's what we need to provide. We need to be live for people. We need to keep building the people happiness. We can do that. We can bring that hope. And I think in Venezuela, just this small light that anonymous Bitcoiners gave, that's the opportunity to bring more hope. That's what we need. And you know something interesting, Anthony? The first goal that they had, the name is Hope.
That's beautiful.
Hope is the last thing that the human being lose, you know? And we don't want that in humanity. This is something bigger. And we need to keep building communities. We need to keep trusting people and verify, of course. But, you know, giving the hope.
Yeah, and it doesn't take much. Just a few motivated Bitcoiners have a lot of power to do good in the world. And our whole journey in Stack Chain has been mostly goofy, but sometimes it's been amazing. And things like this where we connect with other Bitcoin communities around the world and we help them do even just the smallest thing just demonstrates the power that we have. This story is unique because we didn't interact with an existing Bitcoin community. We helped Johnangel plant his own community. This is a brand new baby community, baby Bitcoin community in Venezuela. And what you're doing is so important. So, you know, every Bitcoiner matters, and everything you do to advance the Bitcoin matters. So push forward and keep teaching people. And, you know, if you need help, you have like 100 friends on Twitter that will answer questions, that will, you know, connect you with different people. If we don't know how to do something, we will find the person that knows how to do something. And, you know, just keep moving forward. This is the most amazing story that I've ever participated in, and I didn't even really do anything. So, you know, Johnangel, thank you for being a Bitcoiner in your community, and thank you for doing the proof of work. And I can't wait to see how that grows. And Gaby, thank you for being the person that advocated, because we need that. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, guys. So thank you very much for watching this episode. If anybody wants to learn more about the ranch, where can they find out information about what you guys are doing? Where can they learn about you?
Everybody can search us on Twitter like Tachira Homestead.
Tachira Homestead?
We'll be posting updates of all the work we're going making. Every little step that we make, we're going to post it there and keep it all the information going.
Wonderful. And John will definitely get that information. We'll pop some links in there. Otherwise, everyone, thank you for listening and have fun stacking sats.